Hey guys, it's Kara. So I just got finished reading the last book that I'm going to be reading for my English class at my first semester at UT. So I thought just for fun I would really quickly go through all the books that I had to read for that class because it was a dystopian utopian class. So I figured it'd be perfect to show you guys. And I'm just going to go through them really quickly so I don't waste too much time on here. But the first book that we had to read for class was called Utopia by Thomas More, and I didn't know anything about this book going into it. It's very dense, and it's kind of like how utopia. The whole book is kind of describing how this utopian society is built and how it functions. It's not so much a story. It's not like there's no main characters or anything like that. I mean, there technically are the person who's telling the story, but it's definitely not a very fun read in my opinion. I'm glad I read it because it's the first utopian novel of its time ever, but overall, just kind of boring. And then the next book that we had to read for class was called The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, and this book is about a scientist who goes into the future and discovers these new kinds of people, and there's some action, and it's actually more of a story. And I enjoyed this one way more than I enjoyed Utopia, just simply for that aspect. But it's not the most exciting read, and it's a little hard to understand at times for those of you who don't like to read kind of more like higher level reading books, but it's definitely good. It's a very good book, and this book was definitely more enjoyable. And then the next book that we had to read was really short, and it's called Herland by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. You guys will probably know this author best by her short story called The Yellow Wallpaper. She also wrote a novel called Herland, and it's basically about these three adventurers who travel into a new world where the only people who live there are women. So it's very, it highlights a lot of gender issues of the time and probably trickles into gender issues of today. And it's very interesting. It's a story. It's very good. I would recommend reading this if you ever see it in a store for like a quarter. Pick it up, read it. It's super short. Definitely recommend it. The next book that I read was probably my favorite that we read throughout the entire semester, and it is Margaret Atwood's A Handmaid's Tale. Now, I've heard a lot of stuff about this book, and let me tell you, Margaret Atwood is crazy awesome, great at writing. She's like, the way her words, I wrote an entire 3-page essay on a 4-line paragraph from this book. That's how dense and amazing her writing style is. The story is about a woman named Offred who is she's in a futuristic society where women are unfertile, and so some of them who are still fertile get put into these households where they have to have the children of like commanders and military men. And it's just really interesting, just very gripping, great read, great book, awesome book. And then in my class we watched a movie called Children of Men. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's fabulous. Actually, the director who directed Children of Men he just came out with a movie called Gravity. I haven't seen it yet. It has Sandra Bullock in it, but he did the same thing. So that movie was just mind-blowing. It was awesome. So I recommend you checking that out. It's very good. And then the last book, of course, that we had to read for a utopian dystopian society was The Hunger Games. Going straight from reading Margaret Atwood's work to Susan Collins' work was definitely kind of a shock because I've already read The Hunger Games. Oh, my phone went off. And I love this book and all that stuff, but the writing style in The Hunger Games is definitely YA, which I love YA. But reading Margaret Atwood and then reading her was just like, whoa, you could really a stark contrast to the difference between the two writing styles. But nonetheless, this is a great book. I'm not supposed to finish this book until the end of the year, but I already read the whole thing. You know how reading goes. But I actually had to write my research paper on any book that I choose, and I'm writing it over The Hunger Games and over Blood Red Road, which I also reread to write my paper over. So these are all the books that I read for the semester. I'm currently reading the sequel to Blood Red Road called Dustlands. Well, actually, it's the Dustlands series, but it's called Rebel Heart, but I always call it Dustlands. I don't know. But I'm about like 200 pages in. Very good. I had to read the sequel because I had just reread Blood Red Road, so it had to be done. But anyway, so that's pretty much what I have been reading over this semester. I haven't really had time to read for fun, but I'm starting to pick it up more now. Oh, I also finished reading Clockwork Prince, which I did a little review of it on Goodreads. It's a tiny little one, but basically, in a nutshell, how I felt about Clockwork Prince was that I still don't like the prequel series, as much as I like the Mortal Instruments series, simply because there's less action, and I'm not a big fan of love triangles. I'm just not. Like, I'm not really interested in kind of like not romance per se, but just unnecessary drama in series. I like adventure kind of stuff. You know how it is. So I'm just really not feeling it. But I'm still gonna read Clockwork Princess, and hopefully it's great. I heard it's really good, so I'm still gonna read that. But anyway, that's been a really quick update. Sorry I've been gone for so long, and hopefully talk to you guys soon. Bye!